Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn. And we are back out here, I think where the last video left off. Well, unless I have that one working on the Woodlot Road, then it would be a couple of videos ago. Working out here, I made a little bit of a mess, which is, in my mind, a beautiful mess with all this coarse woody debris here laying on the ground, just waiting to make a new forest. So if you remember from the last video we did here, there are a couple pieces of firewood that I didn't take out. That I'd get that next time, and now is the next time. So I'm not going to get that immediately. So we got the sun over there. That's not helping viewing any. So we have some larger poplar or quaking aspen. As we get sort of further into the woods, like this leaner here, there's a couple of big ones there. So that's going to be the primary focus of today. And boy, it's not going to be too much further back before we're done, because I've gotten most of that beyond there from the other road. And I think I did mention in that last video, there's a couple of softwood, some saw log firs that I'm going to take down. This one here, which is on its deathbed. And I think I'll take down these two, but I'm going to do that probably last to make sure I don't need to access this area to drag anything else out, because with all that debris here, it's just going to make for a bit more of a mess than need be. But the first thing I want to do, I did mention last time, is there's a lot of mess here. There's some blowdowns, some broken stems, some dead trees that I'm just going to clean up. So let's take care of that. Well, it's certainly nice to be able to sort of see through at least the junk. So I probably will take down that red maple there. And from this side here, we can see that sort of that tree there is dead at the top, or dying. Looks like it has more rust-colored needles than green ones. This one looks better on this side. This is the one I pointed out earlier. But you can see the lower branches, even the upper branches are rather thin. And that poplar, last video we were here, I mentioned I'd probably keep that for the time being, because it's, its crown is so high, it's not really interrupting light. So what we will see now, as far as the silviculture aspect, with this one gone, this one, which is growing nicely, it grew much slower as a youngster. These are the growths each year. Probably 4 to 8 inches. Last couple of years' growth, I think, has been a foot or more. So that one is sort of accelerating. So if we take this away, give it more light, it'll be that much better. That one there, which had a double top at one time. I don't know if oh yeah, I can see it there. I clipped it off. So that will likely heal over as far as a mature tree. If it ends up growing that old, it'll probably be fine. without any significant interruption to a relatively straight stem. So other young ones like this with a bit more light now. And over here at the base of this, this other fir that we'll take down, I see up there also it has a witch's broom. So I'll take this one down. There's a lot of debris here. I guess it was this other tree I was looking at. A lot of seedlings. You know, all these. So as far as out here, I think these sort of did their own pruning, did their own selective cutting. You know, those trees have dead or blown over. One of them, I'm not sure which one, if it was the ground, was the one that I sort of cut down right there. It was actually a live tree. You probably saw the green needles on it, but it was a blowdown of some sort. So yeah, these little guys here hopefully will take off. And just step over here where I think there was a tree or two I took down years ago. A little bit of a mess, but yeah, look at all that new growth coming up there. It's just amazing, and all of them have nice, you know, nice long stems, a lot of growth this past year. So with this poplar or this aspen here, same as the one over there, I will leave this one for the time being because, you know, it's really not interrupting anything. These smaller trees should get plenty of light, and it's good to have a little bit of light deprivation, like I've talked about in previous videos, for self-pruning, to encourage the tree to grow straight and tall and not branch out, grow thick branches, and grow more in breadth than in height. All right, so this area is done now. That was a gray birch, and then the double gray birch was right here. One went down that way, and then the curved one you saw sort of in real time ended up over there at the top of it. I would cut it, hopefully, and I did. I was able to avoid this tree, avoid really any significant damage. I think it brushed up against some of these smaller trees here. That'll be fine. All right, so let's tackle some of these larger aspen back there, and we'll drag those out, and at the same time pick up those other firewood pieces I left from last time. So there's the tree I want to take down. I'm just deciding, trying to decide where to fell it. So in a way, I would like to drop it sort of right where I am, but I know it's going to take that tree out. So let's step back, look at the top of this tree. It could be that it doesn't have the greatest top anyhow, and it would allow this one a bit more light. So if we did it, it would sort of drop right there. I'm guessing most of these saplings would be spared. Unless a direct hit by a branch, the branches will sort of act as a cushion to keep the larger stem from crushing them. The other option is to drop it where we are here now. This tree I don't care about, but that is a nice black cherry. And if I try to drop it this way, I might take out that one. There's not much else here in the way that I'd be worried about. So if I drop it here, may get caught up a little bit in the larger, that's a large black cherry tree. It's got a little bit of a wavy stem, but it's not bad. So I'd like to keep it. So if we drop it here, it may interrupt that a bit. Drop it over here. I mean, that's a spruce. It'll probably knock some of the branches off, but that's a big enough tree. I don't think it'll impact it much. And those two softwoods there, I couldn't care much about. And that one does have a deformed top, so I may just sacrifice that and drop it right where we are here. Well, there she lays. Yeah, really didn't do any damage. I don't even think it really touched this tree much. Yeah, the top's still intact. There's a little bit of a piece of branch stuck in there. But yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better fall on that one. So there's really no easy way to get it out that way, but I do have a road sort of at the end of that. So we'll take it out there. But before I move my tractor out there, I think I'll grab these 2 firewood logs. So with this tree, I was able to get 3 logs out of it, so it's 48 feet long. So where it is, to try to drag out a 48-foot stem would have been very difficult, if not impossible, to make the corners. So here what I do is I'll just cut each individual 16-foot log, drag it back to the tractor, and then take 3 16-foot sections. It makes it much easier to maneuver in tighter spaces with 16 feet. Sure sign of spring. Well, there's the empty spot now, and there's our sort of our target tree, the cedar right there, and then a small one right here. So I think that looks good. These large spruce, black cherry continue to grow. This spruce, which is not quite so nice with the big branches that continue to grow. So I'd like to continue cutting, but it is really warm today. The sap is running, and I know I have some overflowing buckets. So let's go collect that before I continue working on taking these trees down. So this is actually the very first time I've used this tractor to pull the trailer, and you'll notice the studded chains on this, and this is the first time I've used these studded chains on this tractor. I did have another pair of chains on it, but they were much less expensive, and they were really rough. And in the icy conditions that you'll see here in a bit, I'm not sure that just sort of traditional unstudded chains would have done much good. I think I've only put about maybe 40 or 50 hours on this tractor since I bought it. Almost new, but it was used. One of the issues, and you'll see it here, the tire spins, and I have to use the brake to sort of get the other tire to grab right there. But my only real complaint about this is that the front axle doesn't pivot that much, so going over any sort of rough terrain is very likely to get hung up and just be stuck on two wheels. Well, that should be enough for a full pan, because the capacity of this is just a little bit more than the capacity of the pan there. So the rest of this would just be a repeat. If you didn't happen to watch the video, it's called First Boil. I'll put a link in the description if you'd like to watch that. But for now, let's get back to cutting trees. Well, this is our next one right here. Leaning pretty heavy, sort of right into that tall fir. Once I get in there, I'll figure out if I can miss it, if I can do it to the left, but perhaps you can see that branch there is going to catch it if it goes that way away from us. But if I go this way, then the trunk is going to get the top, so it doesn't look too good for that fir. But anyhow, so we'll see on the other side here where is a good place to land it. And before I do that, I'll clean up this gray birch. There's a couple of them here that are sort of in the way. Well, that is called a barber chair. Yeah, to prevent this, what I should have done was to bore cut it next to the hinge and then work my way back. See, here it was leaning so hard that, it's a pretty thick hinge when it started to fall, and it was so thick, obviously, this decided to stay put. And there might have been an existing crack or a seam or something there where it sort of split. But that's why it's important to get out of the way when a tree falls. Sort of took sanctuary behind that fir tree there, and this, well, that wasn't going to do me much good. It's kind of rotten. So basically it fell where I wanted. I cut these ahead of time, and the tree brought them down. So I have a lot of cleanup to do. Probably have a pretty straight shot of just pulling it out sort of where the tractor is. Alright, well there's that one, and there's this one. So this one doesn't lean, doesn't really lean much at all. It leans a little bit, plus the branches are off to that side. So I think I'm just going to fell it basically so the crowns land on top of one another. Even though it's not leaning hard, I will use the proper technique to fell this just to make sure. The other thing we have going against us, you can probably see it, is the wind. But I think the wind for the most part sort of coming this direction, maybe this direction. It's probably not helping. Well, that was interesting because I started to, I bore a cut and started to work my way back, and it pinched the saw on this end. Oh, I see why. I did a very bad job of bore cutting. Yeah, what I did, you can see here, in fact, I did a horrible job of making my notch as well. So I bore cut over the bottom cut, and that allowed the tree to collapse. No harm, no foul in the end, but I guess my talent is disappointing. So this one is smaller. Let's hope I can do better. So lay of the land, you can see the chainsaw there. So one stump basically is where the chainsaw is, another one just to the other side of that small fir tree. Several videos back is when I cut this black cherry, which was a double stem cherry there. I cut this one because it was the worst of the two. That one, may make a decent log in the future. So I cut it. There was, I think, a short log, maybe a 7-foot log, and then it split into two pieces, two stems. I dragged the log and 2 pieces of firewood from the stems out that way, and then I figured I would get the remainder of the top here, these 3, out that way. So that'll work out well with this one. And you can see here, this stem here rubbed on the fir, but that's pretty minor damage. Just looks like a really nice tree. It has pretty good growth every year. You can see the distance between the whorls. But it's accelerated. The last couple of years, probably more like 10 inches or a foot or more. All right, so we'll take this one down sort of that way. I'll try to go one side or the other of these firs, but hopefully with no branches up there, if it does hit them, it'll just sort of bend the tree over and let it bounce back. I did notice this, which I think is new. This is a dead spruce. I'm guessing a white spruce, just based on the thickness of the limbs and stuff. I mean, it was rotted right there at the base. But it's not surprising that it happened now, because I've removed a lot of trees, which is helping to block the wind from this. So without that shelter of the trees that we've been taking down, this tree and others are more susceptible to that wind throw. Took a small, I'm guessing a fir tree down there too when it fell down. But this one is good. This one, in contrast to the others, you can see this one struggled in early years. This is the growth each year. It was really just 2 inches or so, maybe not even that in some years. It was really suppressed, probably by this one, when it was alive and had needles that provided a lot of shade. You can see how thick the stem is here, and then it really narrows. Probably when this tree died, it narrowed only because it was growing faster. In height each year, you can see the distance between the whorls almost immediately went to 10 inches plus. So if my counting is correct, I have 3. I have Mr. Barber, that one there, the other larger aspen, and then that one, as well as get those cherries. So my plan here, because you might have noticed before when I hauled out logs, it's sort of very muddy in that corner. I'm scraping up a bunch of trees when I make corners, so I'm just gonna drag everything so it's in sort of this opening, and then reposition the tractor in the field and drag it hopefully over the stone wall. So that'll take a little bit more time, but hopefully damage fewer trees, and in the end just overall be better. So I am gonna damage some trees on the way out, like this one here. I'm sure will be annihilated, but that's fine. It has a weird top. A lot of these, like this one, is probably a lot older than it looks. This is probably at least 20 years old. Probably similar with this one. But there's plenty more. I mean, in fact, I went through and I was trimming the tops of these, and I trimmed off a lot of the smaller saplings that you know, were just not going to make it. They were too crowded, or they were old. Even though they were short, they're real old, or other issues or defects. So plenty of fir here to grow up. I'm not worried about that. For the rest of these, I'm going to reposition, because if I try to pull where I am now, it's really going to rub hard and damage more trees than need be. In this one as well, initially I thought it was angled enough, but it's basically the same orientation as these cherries. So if we do a 180, that's over there, not over there.
So in pulling these trees out, you saw a lot of damage. You'll see a big one here, but like I said, these fir trees are sort of a dime a dozen. If there was one that I was really concerned about saving, then I would have done so. If there was a spruce that was in decent shape, I certainly would have taken great pains to protect it. But these fir, as you can see here, it's just a bush of young firs just waiting to grow. In fact, there'll be too many of them at some point in the future. I'll probably have to come back and thin quite a few of them out.
Well, sometimes I wonder if the BTUs are worth it in some of those instances. I think in some cases it's best just to cut it up and leave it there than all the time and energy and damage to try to pull something out, you know, like this small cherry. Anyhow, it's still fun, and I think overall that section that we worked on is in better shape now, forest health wise, than it was before. So I'm happy for that. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you stay tuned for future videos. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.